Good morning, good morning, good morning, Patriots. How are you today? This is Michael Cook coming to you live from Central Missouri. I have lots to talk about today. This might be a little long video, which I apologize to you. But hang in there because I think this is important. I want to talk about what's coming. It is exactly, my Google's opening up on my phone. They must know something I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from. Stop. Anyways, it's telling me about the CDC, and I didn't even ask. Maybe Google wants to, inform me of something. Anyways, it is, 8:15 in the morning on 9/17/2020. How y'all doing as you're jumping on? Say hi to me. I can't see that you're jumping on, so comment and let me know that you're there. I'll be checking the comments periodically, but I also have a lot of information to give out. So, let's get started in this right away. As you know, 2020 has been a banner year for the conspiracy theorist, where they all became reality and the theories blew away. Good morning. How you doing today? Thanks for jumping on, Cecilia. And we started out, well, I want to back up a little bit. I want to start from the beginning. I want to start from the beginning of 2020. I want to build up to understand that right now is the end game, but the end game of what are we talking about? Hillary Clinton calls herself a progressive. So does Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all of those people. There's even a lot of Republicans, such as Mitt Romney, that would categorize themselves as progressive. What does progressives mean? Hey, Scott, how you doing? What does the word progressive mean? Let's just throw out that in the 1950s, the National Socialist Party of America, or American Nazis, changed their name to the Progressive Party of America. Let's just pitch that out the window. The classical definition of a progressive is a socialist that understands that revolution doesn't work and that you need to progressively introduce the idea of socialism over a period of time so that the American people would accept it. That is the classic definition of a progressive. They'll tell you that, no, we're just about progressing society. Yes, progressing society to where? Well, the answer is Marxist socialism. So, fast forward to 2016. Hillary Clinton was supposed to win the election. She was heading the polls, 6 gazillion. I mean, nobody was going to vote for Donald Trump. That's what the media told us. MSNBC had it 100 to 1. 99% chance Trump would win. The election morning, they were all had their balloons. They had their little poppers. They was ready to go and drink their champagne and celebrate the coronation of Hillary Clinton as president of the United States of America. And the progressive dream was about to come reality because Barack Obama had laid the foundation and Hillary Clinton was going to collapse the social networks into it. Check Cloward and Piven. Look it up. Everything was in order. Everything was in place. This was going to be, and Hillary Clinton actually said she would be the last president of the United States of America. Look that up, too, if you don't believe me. But then a monkey wrench happened. The American people stood up and said, oh, no. We're going to elect this business guy with no political experience and no nothing. We're going to put him into the White House and screw up your plans. So in an attempt to regain the initiative, an attempt to get their plan back on track, there was a White House meeting in January of 2017 prior to the inauguration of Trump. In that meeting was Barack Obama, was Joe Biden, was James Clapper, Jim Comey, and the other folks, they're all the names that you're going to be very familiar with the Russia. And for 2 years, almost 3 years, We heard nothing from the media but lockstep, Russia, Russia, Russia. Trump's a Russia spy. Trump colluded with Putin. We need to impeach, impeach, impeach. And they did all this stuff. They did all of this stuff. They ignored the fact that Hillary Clinton deleted 30,000 emails. Just found out the other day that the Mueller investigation, the people that were on the team, the Strzok, the Lisa Pages, and all of them, their phones magically got erased. So there was no more information on there to see how they were colluding with each other. They pushed this narrative in an effort to create a groundswell of resistance, a grassroots uprising in the people in America. And it only worked in the fringe groups. They couldn't get MSNBC and CNN, because only like 6 people watch it, couldn't get the American people riled up enough. They couldn't get them fired up enough to remove this president. They went all the way through the House impeachments, in which they would say one thing behind closed doors and another thing in front of the cameras. In other words, they lied. Only to have it not happen. They knew they couldn't impeach him all the way. They knew they could vote for it in the House, but they knew the Senate would never remove him. They knew this. That was not the intention. The intention was to build up the resentment and hatred for this president enough that they could force him out. That was the plan. Because they never could find anything of which they could charge him with, because he never did anything. And if they went too far, they were in jeopardy of exposing themselves, exposing Obama, exposing Hillary, and exposing all of the James Clappers and Jim Comeys. So fast forward January 2020. And the great toilet paper panic. In early 2020, early January, there was a report that the tubes were made for toilet paper in China, which was a lie. It's not, at least here in the United States. Then in the end of January 2020, right after the impeachment failed, there was a story released on CNN of 2 ladies beating the crap out of each other in the aisle of the grocery store over toilet paper. And the great toilet paper run of 2020 began. And at the same time, we kept hearing the China virus. We kept hearing this virus out of China. It's going to kill everybody. Everybody's dying. Piles and piles and piles of bodies are baptized. Remember? Piles and piles. It kills 20 or 30%. Everybody gets this thing. They're dead. They're dying. They're laying in the street. People panicked. They went out and bought toilet paper, hand sanitizer, gloves, paper towels. They were cleaning the grocery stores out. Within a month and a half, they were cleaning the grocery stores out of everything. Then came the coronavirus to the United States. First, Trump tried to stop it from coming, and they called him a racist and a xenophobe because Orange Man bad. One of the Democrat mantras, one of the socialist, Marxist, progressive mantras is never let a crisis go to waste, especially if you create it. Now, I don't know if this was created by them. May possibly be created by the Chinese. Could they be working in cahoots? Did you know there's probably 60,000 Chinese military people in Mexico and Canada? Did you know that Canada signed a law in 2020? In January 2020, they signed a law that allowed Chinese to use military forces in Canada to protect their assets without permission from the military, without permission from anybody in China. I mean, anybody in Canada. No government official in Canada at all. Did you know that? Me neither. Isn't that interesting? That's just a side note. You can throw that in with the rest of this. So the great toilet paper rush is on. Now they're telling us 15 days or 14 days to stop the spread, or not stop the spread, to bend the curve. They didn't want to stop the spread because they knew they couldn't stop the spread, because this is basically a cold virus, cold family of viruses, an upper respiratory virus like a cold. It's basically all it is. It's a harsh one. If you're susceptible, it could cause damage or even death. 99.9% of the people will survive. So here we have this happening. And they said, we got to shut it all down. They shut down the economy for 2 weeks, for 4 weeks, for 6 weeks, for 10 weeks. And then like magic on cue, when the American people were saying we've had enough of this, like magic, there's a tragic death to somebody. And how did that happen? How was there a tragic death of somebody that would cause riots in the streets all over this country? And people started chanting. They said, say his name or say her name, because there was another one over here and there was another one over there. And the media got people riled up just like magic. And then 2 or 3 or 4 months into this, after we've all been breathing on each other, after they said masks are not effective, after the American people are tired of this crap and we're not going to take it anymore, we got to mask up. Everybody has to wear a mask. We can't go back to work until we wear a mask. We got to wear a mask. It was one thing after another thing after another thing. Then there was a meat shortage because the packing plants were shutting down. One thing after another after another. They were hurting us to an ultimate outcome, pushing us this way and pushing us that way. Now you hear people, states, governors, they're popping up and they're saying, we can't go back until we have mandatory vaccines. But I digress. That's another video. Impeachment was the last gap. What we are undergoing right now is the Hail Mary, or should I say in their case, Hail Satan. This is their end game. We are in the midst of it right now. Your Black Lives Matter activist is in the street. They are controlling everything that's happening. The media has a plan. They've orchestrated it. They've planned it out. It is. Did you know that Barack Obama, back in the summer, was on a phone call with over 10,000 friends of Obama? That's right. It's a couple hours long. The community organizer by profession was on a phone call, a conference call. How do we know he was on a conference call? I've talked about this before, because they released the part that said that bashed Trump. They thought it was good. You know, we could get Trump here. We could show that President Obama really he knows what's going on because he's the president. And he has more class than the orange man. So they released. Why was he on that? What was he talking about? How many phone calls do they have? And are the media on these phone calls? How come they all say the exact same thing? So he went step after step after step. Well, what is all this leading to? What is all this about? Well, I've been doing a lot of research. I've been doing a lot of figuring out. You know, many of us have seen these pictures. You've seen those pictures. Doesn't that picture look a little off to you, though? Something different about it. Many of us have seen these pictures. We've seen the riots in the streets. We've seen the protesting and the violence. We've seen the mobs of people dragging people out of their cars. Many of us have seen that. Many of us have seen the fist in the air as their symbol of Antifa. Many of us have seen that. Those 3 pictures I just showed you, though, you see, this has happened before. Everything that's happening right now is a game plan. It's happened before. All of those pictures that I showed you are from South Africa, not from here. Like in the last 20 years. When they tried to take down the apartheid state, doesn't this look awfully familiar to the graffiti we see today? But see, this says BLF, the Black Liberation Front, not BLM, Black Lives Matter. But boy, golly, doesn't it sound the same? Give us land or give us death. Give us reparations. Boy, isn't that a coincidence. Did you know that the two founders, the two ladies for Black Lives Matter are from South Africa? What a coincidence. I don't know. Look that up for yourself. Figure it out, because that is another video, and that's not where I'm going with this. I just want to point out that this has happened before. Everything that's happening to us right now has happened before. It happened in the Arab Spring. It happened in the Color Revolution. It's happening right now in Belarus. Well, who would orchestrate something like this? Well, those was orchestrated by none other than our CIA. You know, the same people that have been fighting against this president, Russia, for the last 3 years. So I say all that to bring up that this is orchestrated and planned, and that there's something controlling this. But what could it be? What is going on here? There's a Red State article. Now, I got to pull this up so I can read it to you. The adverse effect of the Obama Executive Order 13583 and the purge of generals and admirals are now obvious. This article goes on to talk about how under the Obama administration, he purged all the warfighting officers out of the military and replaced them with social justice warriors. You know, Black Lives Matter activists, Antifa activists, social justice warriors. Then there's also an NPR article. I hope I did this in the right order, because I can't really see what I'm doing here, so bear with me. But it talks about the Bob Woodward book, and it talks about how there's an extraordinary self-serving chapter in the Bob Woodward book, Rage, which relays a conversation between the former Defense Secretary James Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, who was a hero of mine. I reject him completely. He is a traitor to the United States of America. And the Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coates, in which the two contemplated taking collective action against the President of the United States of America. That's right, folks. They talked about joining together to remove a sitting president. You see, we have been a country of laws, not men, for 200 and almost 50 years. If you don't like the current administration, you got 4 years to change it. That's the way it's supposed to work. But they want to interrupt that cycle with a coup. James Mattis. Oh, Mike, you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. Am I? Have you seen this year? Don't you feel like you're being herded? Don't you feel like you're being pushed to something? Because I sure the hell do. I want to fast forward now. I've rehashed history. I'm fasting forward to the future. It's Election Day, November 3rd, 10 p.m. You're watching CNN, and they're downcast. Trump has won a huge electoral landslide, 300-plus electoral college votes, and a popular vote win, which, if you take a look at Joe Biden, that's not an unreasonable assumption. And we go to bed excited because Trump has defeated Joe hiding in the basement Biden. We knew that was going to happen. We wake up Wednesday morning to dun, 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 breaking news, flash, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. The vote has not been counted. We have to count all the votes. The post office has failed us. The mail-in votes didn't get there. We have to count the votes. Wednesday evening, the social media declares, Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, they all declare that Trump lost the election. We must count the vote. And they deplatformed President Trump and all of his surrogates and administration workers. In other words, Trump is off of Twitter. He's off of Facebook. He's off of YouTube. He's everywhere. They remove him. While they're at it, they'll probably remove conservative talkers. Hell, they might even remove me. I'm small enough, I might slip under the radar, though. What am I talking about, Mike? That's impossible. That's not going to happen. They've already banned a couple of his tweets. The President of the United States of America. Their fact checkers will be going overtime talking about count the vote, count the vote, count the vote. They've hired thousands of social operators to get on to the social medias and stir the bucket, because this is exactly what they did in the Arab Spring. This is exactly what they did in Russia. This is when they tried a few years ago to overthrow Putin. This is exactly what they did in Ukraine. This is exactly what they're doing in Belarus. The color revolution. They got their agitators on social media. Count the vote, count the vote, count the vote. Can't trust Trump. Wednesday night into Thursday, the grassroots come out. You know, Antifa, BLM, and the like. In every major city across the United States. And they start protesting and chanting and pillaging and raping and burning, shouting, count the vote, no justice, no peace. Count the vote, no justice, no peace. That's going to be their mantra. This is Wednesday into Thursday. They won't go home during the day. They'll be there all day long. Thursday, major unions across the United States orchestrate walkouts. Teachers unions, all government unions, the Teamsters, AFL-CIO, they all jump on the bandwagon and they tell everybody to walk out. And they join the chants. They join no justice, no peace. Count the vote, count the vote, count the vote. Trump is not legitimate. Count the vote. Thursday night, CNN, MSNBC, and all of the newspapers and everybody are asking the question, will Trump invoke the Insurrection Act? Will Trump, the lame duck, illegitimate president, will he call out the military? Remember what I just told you about Mattis? Remember what the article I just showed you, that the military has been purged? I believed all along that if this ever came to this, the military would stand with the president. I doubt that. Not at the upper echelons. The lower rank people maybe, but the military has been infiltrated with social justice. We cannot count on them to support our cause. Friday, the day of days, end of game. Will the military respond? What if they don't? Every major city across the country is on fire. There's riots, there's looting. Black Lives Matter has been completely unleashed. Will the patriots step up? Will the 3%ers step up? Oath keepers. The police departments are overwhelmed. Remember I said earlier there's up to 60,000 Chinese forces in Mexico and Canada? According to the TIP, the transition, the one I did the video on the other day, the Transition Integrity Project, by Friday or of the next week, Joe Biden will be calling for peace in the streets. He's willing to negotiate with the president to calm the peace. He's willing to go ahead and give the president he's willing to go ahead and give the president I apologize. I didn't realize that was still on my face. He's willing to go ahead and give the president the presidency. But first, what he has to do is he has to break Cascadia up. Cascadia? What is Cascadia? Cascadia is, back in the 80s, the Russians had a plan for eliminating the United States by breaking away from the United States, California, Washington, and Oregon, and calling it the nation of Cascadia. I apologize to everybody about my article still being up there. I didn't realize I left it up there. I need a producer. Joe Biden will say, we need to make the District of Columbia a state. We need to make, that's D.C. for, anybody that doesn't know, Puerto Rico a state, and we need to make California 5 states, giving delegates to the Senate and stacking the Senate. This is straight out of the TIP, Transition Integrity Project, which was paid for by Hunter Biden. Also, the Green New Deal. We have to have that. And there's some other leftist socialists in order to give the presidency back. Things he could not agree on. Or if he doesn't, he will be working with the governors of California, Washington, and Oregon to secede from the Union. Do you remember the last Civil War we had? Why did it start? Ladies and gentlemen, be prepared. Trump's going to win this election. They don't want Biden to win because they've given up on progressivism and they've gone straight to Marxism, and they want social revolution. They want guns in the street. They want bodies. They want mayhem, because through the mayhem, through the crisis, they can seize power, and that's their plan. At this point, they've given up. They failed at every turn. If they allow President Trump to win this next election and retain office, there's nothing stopping him from destroying them. See, he has to get reelected, so he's had to hold his fire. This is the end game. Either they win or we win. We being the American people. We being those that believe in the republic, those that believe that America is the greatest experiment that's ever been fostered on mankind on this planet forever. The greatest civilization to ever exist, with the power of the people to decide who their leaders are, that we don't have revolutions every 4 years, that we don't have to take our leaders out by force. We vote them out every 4 years. I'm so proud of the community of Pettis County, because there's been a tragedy that happened. A young lady lost her life at the hands of a police officer, a sheriff's officer. Whether it was justified or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not making a statement on that. But I was fearful the other day when they came out and said they would not press charges, that there would be riots. There was not. As I strolled through all the Facebook posts of the people who were mostly the instigators of the protest, which is perfectly legal, and I'm behind the protest. Please protest. Say your chants. Get your opinion out there. Hold your signs. Seek change. Whatever, I'm for that. But they were saying that they will handle this in November because there's another candidate running. Whether you're before one or the other, I don't care. That's the way it's supposed to be handled. But that's not the way we're going to try to do this, President. Our country is in jeopardy, my friends. I ask each and every one of you right now to stop what you're doing and pray. Pray that God blesses America. Pray that God moves in a mighty way to prevent the things that are coming from happening. Pray that Trump wins in such a landslide that the media can't pull this off. Pray that something happens between now and the election to prevent all this from happening. Pray that God moves in a mighty way in this country, and that his will be done, and to have mercy on us, because that's where we are. Sorry this video is so long. Sorry I left that up in front of my face, but you all don't want to see my face anyways. You guys have a great day. Please share this video because it's an important video, and it's important that we share it. I will talk to you all later.